we mentioned in the translation, it says the smaller punishments and the greater punishments. And I'm assuming that these smaller punishments are like wake-up calls that Allah has sent us before the greater accountability.
Yeah.
So, could you please expand a little bit more on how we can recognize these smaller wake-up calls in our own lives?
In the context, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to punishment, not test. So when he used azab, and when Allah uses the word azab, it's not a test. Yes, and to the believers. The test to the believers, Allah will not use the word azab. Allah will use ibtila. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. Allah will use the word نَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. But when he uses the word azab, it means it's a punishment to the disbelievers. And this punishment might bring them back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you see the difference from the structure of the word as well. It tells you that this is directed to the disbelievers. Yeah.
Yes.
Or if you use the word لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ or ibtila, yeah, it's directed to the believers.
That's so important to make that distinction, Sheikh. So
Mm.
actually, could we say then when believers are being tested by something, because often you hear people
Yeah, it's
say,
not azab. We can't say
no,
azab.
this is not
No,
a
you won't
punishment.
find in the Quran Allah use azab for the believers. No,
So can the believers be punished as well, have smaller punishments?
they can. Yeah, they can.
And so you've explained this to us before, but if you wouldn't mind just to give us a little bit more of an explanation, how do we differentiate between a test and a punishment then?
Yeah, the test Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did and will test the believers. And top of the ranks of the believers are the prophets and messengers. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that the believer will be tested according to his iman or her iman. If his iman was strong, his test will be strong, and vice versa. Yeah. So this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the punishment, when someone is or has already done something very wrong, deep down you know, straight after you did receive something, you know this is just a punishment from Allah Azza wa Jal because yeah, I've done this today. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this or I shouldn't have said this, and you receive quick punishment if you want from
Hmm.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's although it's a punishment between brackets, but it's mercy from Allah Azza wa Jalla. He didn't postpone it to the akhirah.
Yes. And could we say that the way that we handle what's come upon us could be a marker as well? So if we are connected still to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we amend our ways and we realize, then this could be an indication that actually it's a test from Allah as opposed to a punishment, or would you say that that doesn't matter?
Yeah, of course, it's the way you see it, the way you deal with it. But nevertheless, deep down, I always say this and I repeat this to myself as well. Deep down, you can distinguish if it's a punishment or a test.
Hmm. You have to look very deep inside yourself and be honest with
Yeah,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. I have a couple of other questions, but I'll take them afterwards. I'd like to take questions from those who've got their hand up. Hannah, you've raised your hand. Do you have a
Yeah,
question?
in reference to that, would the punishments be like like legal punishments where people have had, I don't know, whatever from the judge or from the law at the time? Are those would it refer to those sorts of punishments as well?
Not necessarily.
Mm.
It might be, depends. If it was a fair punishment, yeah. Because sometimes somebody received a 10 years sentence and he was innocent. It's a punishment, but he was innocent. So it's unfair punishment. sort of from that judge.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, while everybody's thinking, Sheikh, I'll just ask you another question. Often we see in the Quran the rise and fall of the past nations mentioned. So this particular ayah, is it specific to a nation or is it a general thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned?
In this surah in particular,
Yes.
Allah is addressing the Arab, and usually when He says يَمْشُونَ فِي مَسَاكِنِهِمْ, they walk through their dwellings, He's referring to Ad and Thamud. It's very obvious.
Yes, yes. I thought as much, but I thought I'd better check that with you because the dwellings is a big indication, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
yeah,
because they pass by their dwellings on their journey from Mecca to Sham, back and forth.
so what's the strongest lesson that we can take from this, Sheikh, in our context?
Regarding the previous nations, you mean?
Yes, and this specific warning. What is it about the dwellings?
It means it's not anymore a story you hear. It's visual. You can see, you can touch, you can observe the details. So it's not a fairy tale. It's a reality. Yes. So it's just giving you clarity that it might be a fairy tale, but no, I can see it in my own eyes. It's not a fairy tale. So it's a confirmation of the truthfulness of the story.
Yes, and making us closer to that story. And is it possible that in our modern age it could be an indication that we've become so comfortable and we are so absorbed, if you like, in the dunya. May Allah forgive us. And it's a reminder that actually it's all going to go. It's all going to be left behind. And there isn't anything there really that we're going to take apart from the deeds.
Yeah, Allah did say this in another surah. He said they were more stronger than you, more affluent than you, but Allah did destroy them because of their own actions. So the story, the wisdom behind this. So don't follow their footsteps. Even if you are like them, you will be punished. It doesn't matter if you are stronger or less power than them. If you are to overstep the limits, Allah will punish you.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay. And final question from me, and then if there's anyone else who would like to ask. Sheikh, it's about keeping a balance, isn't it, in our life? So how can we keep awareness of the akhirah alive, if you like, in our daily routines as we go about our business, but without becoming overwhelmed by it and fearful to an extent where it becomes disempowering to your own self?
Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did design the day around the salah. And the salah is the biggest reminder of the akhirah. If we were to do it properly, it's 5 times a day. What more you need? It's 5 times a day. Minimum. Allah is reminding you about Him and the akhirah. And in between, you shouldn't be a person of ghafla. You should be a person of dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.